Well, hey there. How's everybody doing?
I think we better just quit while we're behind. I swear it's something every week.
Here we are doing live stream reviews. So glad to be here with you guys. I think we're going to jump into 4 church live streams on this one. This is from our Inner Circle subscribers. If you also have tips, drop those in the comments. Just be constructive in your feedback. We're all here to help each other get better. And also let us know where you are tuning in from today. In case you didn't know, we are in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, and it is kind of like a nice fall rainy day outside today. But we review live streams every month. And if you'd like us to review yours, all you need to do is become an Inner Circle subscriber. We have a link in the description where you can do that. Also, there's a link in the description where you can get access to our free live stream mix made simple course. If you're looking for a simple way to make your live stream sound awesome, go get access to that course. It's free. There's a link in the description for that. There's also a link to a mixing cheat sheet. This is something that you leave beside your mixer just to make the whole process smoother, so everybody knows who the lead vocal is and the lead instrument and things like that. Just some simple notes that you can take each Sunday to make sure everything stays on track. You can download that for free using the link in the description. It's called the mixing cheat sheet. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our first one. It was Larry that sent this in to us from Immanuel Baptist Church. They're in the middle of transitioning from analog to digital, and this is their first effort at that. So, way to go, man! I know it can be overwhelming to transition from analog to digital, but just keep going. It'll become a lot easier, and you'll be so thankful you have all the resources that you have on digital that you didn't used to have on analog. But they're mainly focusing on sound in this one. Right now, they have one guy who's handling the lights, the cameras, and monitoring the live stream all at the same time. So that guy's a real busy guy. They're using the Allen & Heath SQ7 mixer. So I'm going to load this up here and we'll take a listen. Hey, for your first mix on a digital mixer, you should give yourself a pat on the back because that's really good, man. Great job. So a few things that you can do going forward to make it better is I noticed it's pretty heavy in the low mid section of the EQ spectrum. So we want to go start and clean that up. And I would start with the vocals. On all of your vocals, you want to make sure you have a low cut filter at about 180 hertz. I'm going to get a little ad here. Isn't that great? So hold on a second. Gotta love you too. All right, so and now we're gonna listen to some Charity Gale.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, one second. Let me go back here. Sorry about that.
Thanks for sticking it out with us today, by the way.
Yeah, so low cut filter at 180 hertz on all of your vocals. That'll clean them up. And also, I recommend adding a low shelving filter at about 800 hertz. And then you're going to drop that down about -3 dB, maybe even -6. What you want to do is use that filter to thin out the vocals so that it sounds nice and clean and clear, but you still want it to have warmth to it. So make sure you don't use that filter too aggressively. You'll just kind of have to adjust that and get the feel of that vocal in the room. With your vocals holding their mics correctly, which is great because a lot of churches struggle with that, which, by the way, correct mic placement is no more than an inch from your mouth and you're holding it there the whole time. The problem with that is you get a lot of those low mids in there, and you have to thin those out so that the vocal sounds clean in the room and in the live stream. So those two filters, a low cut filter at 180 hertz, and then a low shelving filter at 800 hertz will do the trick. So do that on your vocals. You're going to notice your mix becoming a whole lot cleaner. And also do the same thing on your acoustic guitar, because I noticed that it's filling up a lot of that low mid spectrum as well, and you really don't need that because you have other instruments that are handling that for you, like the electric guitar, the bass guitar. So again, put a low cut filter on the acoustic guitar and then put a low shelving filter at that same place, 800 hertz. You can just be more aggressive on the acoustic guitar and cut maybe 6 to 9 dB. It's going to sound a little strange by itself, but it's going to sound really good with the band whenever you're thinning out the acoustic guitar that much. Let me take one more listen here. All right, so I see you're using a electronic drum kit, which is sounding good. I can hear the kick drum, I can hear the cymbals, but I cannot hear the snare drum. So what I would do is I would go to the drum head unit that's right there on the drums. And on that head unit, you can make adjustments on the levels between each of those drums that are there. So bring that snare drum up quite a bit until you're hearing that snare drum in the mix, because it's a key ingredient of the drum mix, and it brings a lot of energy as well. So I'm going to leave that there and then pass it to Dylan for feedback on visuals.
Just two things. I think, for one, your white balance looks good. Your exposure looks good. It looks like PTZ camera, so great job getting those things looking good. I even noticed that from shot to shot, they were consistent, so great job there. One thing I did notice is that your horizon leveling is skewed, so you're kind of looking at it like this. So level out your horizon on all those shots so that, you know, that spectrum is straight. And then the lyrics are a little small, I think, especially if someone was watching on a phone. I'd imagine that'd be a little hard to read. So I would just recommend making it bigger. I do like that you have the white bars behind it. It makes it a lot more legible, easy to read, so great job with that. Overall, good job. Just those two things I'd recommend, and you got a good stream going.
Yeah, thanks for sending that in. Good job, man. And shout out to who's running the whole thing, the whole show, doing cameras and lights and sound. And I know that's the story in a lot of churches. Man, talk about a challenging job, but great job. Any comments while I'm loading up the next one?
We had Terry saying that he's also from Tulsa, and they are getting a building soon and cameras in October.
Sweet.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations on that. That's exciting.
Let's see. We have applied low cuts in later ones, and we are getting better. I'll submit again in about 3 weeks. By the way, room is great. It's the broadcast that's the issue. That was Immanuel.
Awesome. Yep, just keep at it. Just little adjustments each week, right? We're all doing that, making it better as time goes on. There's always something that you can do better. So, yeah, just keep going.
Someone said, our church is getting a whole sound system upgrade. I'm excited and nervous because we are doing acoustic treatment first. Buying a Behringer Wing Midas MP48 with Phoenix PTM 33 for Singer in-ears.
Yeah, it is nerve-wracking whenever you're getting new gear.
You'll like the wing, though.
Oh, yeah, you'll like it.
Cade's a wing guy now.
And we have a fast track for you learning the wing. We just launched our wing mastery course. It just launched a few days ago. So we're in the middle of launch week, and if you sign up by Sunday, it's like bonus week for us since it's launch week. You'll get a 40% off coupon for our exclusive Collaborate Worship t-shirts. There's a lot of great designs which make for great gifts for sound guys and things like that. And that 40% off coupon will last to the end of the year. That's for everybody who signs up for Wing Mastery during this launch week. And you also get entered to win a $500 Sweetwater gift card. So if Wing Mastery is something that you want to get into, now's the time to do it. Sunday is when those special offers expire. Just go to collaborateworship.com, hit the courses button. You'll find Wing Mastery there, and you can get going today.
You'll love that it's the fastest way to do it, too. We didn't spend 45 minutes trying to explain one thing because we know you guys don't have a lot of time. We don't either. So we wanted you to learn everything you need to as fast as you can.
Yep, there's a lot of training out there on YouTube, right? But that's where we're different. We are the quickest way to master the wing. What the other guys spend kind of an hour explaining, I explain to you in just a few minutes. Time is precious.
Simple.
So, simple, yep.
All right, next one.
This is from Nathan, and he is from Good Shepherd Church. They started using tracks recently, and they're trying to find a good spot in the mix for those tracks. They had a thinner team during the stream that they submitted, which made it kind of tough. They're using the X32. So here we go. Let's take a listen. I think the EQ on your vocals is really good. So great job on that. I think that's the perfect balance between like thinning them out and still having warmth. They sound nice and clear. Something that I did notice, though, is he kind of jumped in and out of the mix. Like when he was singing real low, it was hard to hear him, and then he started belting out in that upper register, and you could hear him just fine. So I would dial in his compression a little better so that he's more steady in the mix. When it comes to compression, you can usually use on the tack, hold, and release. You can set that to auto on the X32, and it gives you good results. I would set you're going to set the threshold. That's the main setting that you're going to focus on. And I can't give you an exact threshold placement because you're going to have to pay attention on that compressor screen to the gain reduction meter, which is those little red lines that are coming down from the top and going to the bottom. And you want to set threshold until on those kind of average singing moments that it's hitting -6 dB on average. And on his louder moments, it may hit like -9, but you really don't want to compress more than that. But whenever you get it in that place, you usually don't have a problem with the vocal jumping in and out of the mix. So that'll make that a lot better. And do that on all of your vocals. I like the way that the kick drum sounds, but it's a little excessive. Like it needs to come down quite a bit in this live stream mix. I'm thinking like maybe bring it down 3 to maybe even 4 or 5 dB to get that in the right spot.
I hear the chains hit the ground. The God of revival pour it out. Come awaken your people. Come awaken your city.
I think you have the tracks mixed in the right place in there. So good job on that. One thing that I'm wondering is if you have your tracks coming through in a stereo signal, a left and a right signal. If you don't, I would make that change because it's going to add a lot more width and depth to your tracks and just make your sound a lot bigger. So do that stereo signal where one has one channel for the left, one channel for the right. Depending on how you're running your tracks, if you're using an iPad, like what do we use? The Multitracks app. It allows you to do stereo, right? And so
Playback. Playback by Multitracks.
Playback by Multitracks, but so did the other one, was it Loop Communities Prime app? It does the same thing. You can do it in mono or stereo. Stereo is going to sound a lot better. And also make sure you have the same reverb that you're using on your other instruments. Put some of that on your backing tracks as well, and that's kind of what makes it all come together and sound as one instead of like having your backing tracks over here and your musicians. Now, to me, it kind of did all sound as one, so I think you probably already have that in there. So good job, man. What do you think on visuals, Dylan?
Being that it's one shot, I mean, that's how our stream is too. I think it looks good. Your horizon looks pretty level. One thing I did notice right off the bat is that there's a little bit of overexposure going on. I can see it mostly in their foreheads. You can see that it's blown out white on their foreheads. So I would lower your exposure a little bit. It is a little bit on the warm side, but I think it looks good. It's kind of like more of a stylistic warmth, but I don't think it's too much that like it looks like your white balance is just off, if that makes sense. Your lyrics, I think, are taking up a little bit too much of the screen down there. I'd recommend taking your lyrics down to only 2 lines at a time. I just think it's easier to follow when it's only 2 lines. Obviously, that's going to be more switching, so your person has to be on top of switching them. But it makes it look a little less messy, and it's easier for people to follow along with. I'd say the sweet spot is probably anywhere between 4 to 7 words on the screen at one time. What do you think? Do you think that's about right? Yeah. That's all I got, though. I think for what you're working with, it looks good.
Awesome. I agree. Thanks for sending that in. You guys are doing a great job. All right. Any questions or comments while I load up this next one?
Any tips for bus processing, EQ, compression, limiting?
I guess we're talking about for the overall live stream bus.
We have a free course.
Yep. In that course, I walk you through some things to do to apply a limiter to your bus, and also there's an EQ filter that I recommend applying to your bus. Instead of explaining it here, I think it's better if you just go get access to that free live stream course. There's a link in the description because it'll walk you through all the details on how to set that up. Anything else?
Not at the moment.
All right. So this next one is from Eric, and he's from Lighthouse Church in Panama City, Florida. He says, any input is welcome, just trying to get everything out of that I can. Our lighting and camera shots, I feel, suffer at times. It can be tough with our LED lights. So it looks like he's really wanting us to hone in on the visual aspect, but we'll do both, of course. All right, here we go. Okay, well, first of all, you're doing a great job squeezing volume out of your mix. I didn't have to turn that up near as loud as the other ones, so that's impressive. You should give us some tips on how to get your compression and limiter dialed in to pull that off. I love your vocal reverb. It's beautiful.
It's time to move to trust in you, to say goodbye to yesterday's point of view.
100% on how you're mixing the lead vocal and the background vocals. That's great.
You wanna see I'm stretching out my hand. It's time to move to trust in you, to say goodbye to yesterday's point of view. A cloud by day and a fire by night. You go before and you go behind. Hey, a cloud by day and a fire by night. You go before.
Man, that is so good.
I see why they didn't want any recommendations on sound. That's
Yeah,
good.
that is so good. The only thing that I noticed, like, I feel like it's just a little harsh in that upper mid range, like probably 2 kilohertz ish area. If I had to guess at where that was, somewhere between 1 and 3 kilohertz, it's just a little bit harsh. So if you're boosting there on that overall live stream bus, I would not be as aggressive with that boost. If I were adjusting this mix, I would go put on the overall live stream bus, I would put just a little PEQ filter right there. I'd find out where that harshness is and just cut it out like 1 to 2 dB at the most to smooth that sound out a little bit more. But wow, really good, really good.
All right, so let's talk about those visuals. And Josh also commented, I'll read his real quick. He said, could try to make sure each angle has a clear subject and framing is based more around them, especially on the wides. Also, the saturation feels a bit different between each shot. And I would agree with those things. One of the first things I noticed is that your instrumental shots, like the drums and the keys, oversaturated, too much contrast, which is also making it look overexposed, but it might also just be overexposed as well. So I would check all 3 of those things. Start with your exposure, adjust your contrast to where it looks more like these shots that we're on right now. The blacks are crushed in those instrumental shots. And then drop your saturation a little bit so that it doesn't look so washed with color. It looks a little more natural. And he said, what was the problem he was wanting commented on? The LED screen, right?
You're saying the LED causes problems.
Yeah, I did notice in that one close-up shot that it was causing some, what's that word? It starts with an M. Anyway, it's an issue. You probably saw it. You know what I'm talking about. To fix that, I think you're just going to have to experiment with the positioning of the camera, moving it closer or further, and then how you're zoomed. Because I noticed with our LED screen, and it is, we have the refresh rate that you need for filming, and we also have the pixel pitch that you need so that you don't see all the pixels. But I've even noticed with ours that if it's zoomed in to a focal length that it really doesn't like, it does that same thing. So that might mean that you just have to experiment with how far you can go zoomed in, how far you can't, where the sweet spots are, where the bad spots are. Because I noticed in some of these other wide shots, you don't have that problem. So that's definitely just a lens issue that I think you can fix by just fine tuning it. If you have the ability to drop your f-stop a little bit more, that might help to add some focus depth between the person and the LED wall, blur it out a little bit more. It's hard to give you an exact, like, this is the problem. But I would experiment with those lens changes, and I think that might fix it. That's really the only shot I noticed it in was that close-up of the gal there a second ago when we were listening. I'm trying to watch through right now. That's all I really noticed. I did notice some overexposed shots, but it seemed like it was just because the lights got really bright for a second. Obviously, that's really hard with cameras. You don't want them on auto exposure. That would be a bad idea. But exposure and white balance looks good between everything. Like Josh said, the saturation and the contrast were really the only inconsistent things, like this one right here on the piano, like I commented on a second ago. But I think overall it looks really good. You're doing a great job. Sounds good. Looks good. You can tell you guys put a lot of effort into all of it. So good job.
Hats off.
Hats off.
Wonderful. All righty. Any comments before we move on?
Josh also said, put a camera in someone's hand, show that the energy that your band has. So get someone on a moving camera. So if you have that ability, that is a cool idea that you could implement. Go to Josh's channel, Budget Church Livestream. I'm sure he's got some cool videos on how to do that and do it cheap.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh, for that feedback. All right, next up, this is from Chris, New Covenant Church. They just added ambient mics and upgraded to a Mackie line array speakers. There you're using the Behringer Wing.
What?
All right. Here we go. Man, thanks for sending this in. It's kind of hard to hear your whole mix because the bass guitar is kind of dominating the mix. So that's the first place that I would start, is to bring down your bass guitar so that we can actually hear some of the other things. Like, it's just so heavy in the mix, it's hard to hear anything else in my headphones. So I was trying to listen really carefully to what else is going on, because I know you have some good elements in there too. But let's start by bringing that bass guitar down in the live stream mix, and it's going to make everything else sound a lot better. You're also going to be able to get a lot more volume out of your live stream mix whenever you bring that bass guitar down, because I noticed I had to turn it up on my mixer here quite a bit compared to those others, because you're not kicking out the same amount of volume as those other live streams. So find a way to get your overall live stream volume up too, so people aren't having to turn their phone up all the way and still not able to hear it. One thing that I did notice on that quieter moment when the bass guitar dropped out is that those vocals probably need the same treatment that I talked about on the first one. They need to be thinned out a little bit. Make sure you have a low cut filter on those at 180 hertz. And also something I've been doing a lot lately is putting a low shelving filter on vocals at about 800 hertz and using that to thin out the vocal to where I want it to be. I find myself putting it somewhere around negative 3 dB to get that vocal nice and clean, but still have plenty of warmth and power to it. That'll be different depending on the vocal, but just put that filter there, low shelving filter at 800 hertz, and mess with it until you get a lot of clarity from your vocals. Also, I noticed that the vocals probably need some reverb too. If you already have reverb on there, you're going to need some more reverb as well. And I know one thing that he wanted us to comment on was they just started using ambient mics, so let me listen specifically for that. I'm not hearing a lot of ambience in there, but at the same time, it doesn't sound super dry and dead to me, so I know that it's there. So you probably do have it pretty close to the right place. Resubmit this to us after you get that bass guitar adjusted in the mix, so that we can kind of go deeper into this. But thanks for sending that in, man. I appreciate it. What do you think on visuals, Dylan?
Will you full screen it for me?
Yes, sir.
Is it just this one shot, or was there another one? I was kind of reading a comment there a second ago. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss one.
Just see one shot, I think.
Okay. So for the one shot, it looks good. I like the background. That's really cool. I wonder
cool.
how they did that. Your white balance, it looks good. It might be a little bit green. So maybe adjust your tint a little bit towards the magenta. I noticed that in the skin tones. And it's a little overexposed. You can see that gal in the middle is almost clipping white on her face. So I would drop your exposure a little bit or drop your lighting if that makes more sense for you. But overall, it looks good. I don't notice any horizon issues from the way I'm looking at it. But yeah, I think it looks good. Just fix those two things and you got a good shot.
Awesome. Thanks for sending that in, man. And yeah, go ahead and resubmit that to us for the next live stream review. We'll dig a little deeper on those sound things. All right. Any comments, questions?
Not that I see.
All right. Well, let's just take a few minutes. We will play our own live stream and critique it. This is from a few weeks ago. You pulled one from back in August, huh?
Back in August.
We're going to critique our August selves. All right, so let's take a listen to this.
Is an open door, so come now, Lord, like never before.
Well, first, I think they need a better lead vocalist.
Yeah, he sucks.
Just playing.
In every season, your grace has been enough, and I'm believing the best is yet to come. The cross before me, my hope on things above.
I'm going to give us the same feedback on the bass guitar. It's too loud.
That's what I was thinking.
The best is yet to come.
More snare, too.
Your presence is an open door. We want you, Lord, like never before.
Now, I'm not the one who mixes on Sundays. We have two people who alternate on Sundays, but I am the one who trains them. So one thing that I would tell them regarding this mix is obviously bring the bass guitar down. And the second thing, I would compliment them on the way they mixed vocals. The lead vocal is where it needs to be, and the background vocals are perfect too. Where I like background vocals is to blend in with the instrument part of the mix. And that way the lead vocal can be at the top of the mix, and they nailed it on this one.
All right, every voice sing it out. I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle.
I would bring those electric guitars up a little bit to fill in that low mid section. It's missing a little bit there.
I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle. My God made me a promise and it won't stop now. I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle.
Overall, I think it's pretty good. Good job, team.
Not bad. I do notice our horizon is off a little bit there.
Oh,
like I was
it
commenting.
is. You can tell by those lyrics.
The frustrating part is that we use our building as an event center. The camera's on a tripod and it's always moving around.
It gets
So,
taken down and put back up.
It's got to be
and-
re-leveled every week, so sometimes it doesn't get leveled properly. But I think since then, I've given them a grid that they put up on the screen that helps them get it level a little bit easier. So a little tip for you, put a little grid on your screen that's in the shot, and that helps out.
Can you just Google that? Like,
Yeah.
The graphic?
I don't remember what I Googled, probably just grid.
nice.
Needs a little more illumination. The whole band to wear white. Oh, yeah, he's saying that people wearing black are kind of blending into the background. That's a good point. Obviously, I can't control what people wear, nor am I going to try.
Oh, come on.
But we do have backlighting on the vocalist there, which it does help a little bit. There definitely would not be any definition to their bodies if there weren't those backlights. And we do have curtain lights that I could put into the shot to help add a little bit more separation to the background too. But as we've talked about multiple times, we prioritize the room before we do the live stream. And that's just the look that I want in the room. See, there's the curtain lights. That's the wrong color of curtain lights too. I remember the wrong one got used, and it's supposed to be green. But there's an example of what that looks like. We have done that during worship in the past, but I've gotten to a point where I just like the most simple lighting possible, and we keep it really pretty dim during worship. Like, I don't want the stage to be standing out. And we have to boost the ISO in camera during worship to make that work, which can be a little bit tricky. He just has like a really long stylus that he touches the black magic screen and adjusts the ISO. But it works. You can see everybody except for the people in the back. But that's kind of what I was going for.
Yeah, we're totally like a minimalist church, like not using motion backgrounds or anything. Just
we used to. I used to have
chill
color for every song and a motion background for every song. And then I moved to just that for the first upbeat song. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going full on minimalist here. And I like it. It makes it feel less like a show, and it gives the light that's required for people to see what's going on, to connect with us up on the stage, and I don't know, it's just how I felt like doing it lately.
Well, we do have a goal whenever we get to our next space of trying an all white stage instead of an all black.
We might be behind the fad, though. I thought that was an original idea, but now I'm seeing it everywhere, so maybe I don't even want to do it anymore.
It's not about a fad.
I know, but I would like to have more white on the stage. That adds a lot of challenge because obviously stages are black for a reason because they hide things. They hide wires. They hide imperfections.
They absorb the light spill.
Yep. So you can shape your light a lot easier. So that will be a fun challenge to navigate. I think I do want to try like the overhead softbox thing that has become a fad lately. Even though it's a fad, I still really like it. I think that adds just like a cool kind of lighting to just have a soft light from above. Maybe if it's even just for a little bit. I don't know. Ideas to consider. Let's see if we got any comments.
Well, I'm going to take it to my message portion here because I'm using a new mic. Establishing his kingdom here on the earth. We have to use him.
That's when we were having problems with it too.
That was our first Sunday.
God has all the resources. God has all the resources and desperately wants to get them to us.
Okay, yeah, so the problem was we needed a new frequency on the wireless band, right? And then it solved that problem because it sounded a little bit distorted. I'm going to show you that next time we do a live stream review. The DPA 4088, if you're using a headset mic on your pastor, is the mic to buy. Oh my gosh, it's an investment though, because the mic itself is like $900, and then you have to have a wireless pack on top of that. But if you want your pastor to sound his best, that's the mic to use. We should start looking in the pastor's mic portion of these as well to give feedback on that, because that's a really important part of the mix.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody was saying a second ago, the stream is a bit dark. Just to address that, that's kind of like what we're going for, and we prioritize the room over the stream. He said he disagrees with the bass, listening with AirPod Pros. Hats are a little much compared to snare, and keys can come back about 5 dB. What do you think about that?
I would disagree, because the keys, he's talking about the synth part, is a prominent part of that song specifically, so I would have left those where they are.
I did think they were a tiny bit too loud, though, listening to it.
Cool.
For my preference. The hi-hats definitely can be a little bit loud a lot of times in our mix.
Yeah.
I think we have a problem with it opening the snare gate when he gets going on it really hard, you know?
And it's picked up through the ambient mics as well, and the vocal mics.
It bounces around so much.
You're hearing the hi-hat through all the mic bleed.
Everything.
Because it doesn't even have its own mic. And that's one of the challenges of being in a small space and having your drums completely uncaged.
You will see that we have cymbal shields up there, though. I can't remember what brand that is, but it's not circular. They're square, and they kind of like wrap around the cymbal a tiny bit. And we used to have the circular ones, and these ones make a lot more sense than those ones do, in my opinion, because they actually like wrap around the sides a little bit, and they fit the shape of a cymbal a lot better. I think it did help. It helped with mic bleed. So
yeah, it did.
So I would recommend those. After the stream's over, I'll go drop a link to those in the description if you're curious about them. I can't do it while it's going, though. Nigel was asking, he's one of our inner circle peeps, if he can submit if we still have time.
Yeah. Did he already submit it? Let me go on here and look.
Yeah, Nigel, if you want to go drop a link in Slack, you can do that as well. Is it in there?
We had another one come in from Zahir. that we can get into real quick. This is from Praise Temple, and he's using the Behringer wing as well. So let me pull it up on YouTube, and let me get past the ads here. And I got this queued up, so let's take a listen to it.
God, we pray right now, Lord, that you begin to wash your people in the name of Jesus. Because your way, Holy Ghost, have your way, Lord. Host of the Lord, and we have this
Kind of trying to find the middle of the song here.
through the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony.
Era, the specific situation.
There we go.
We bow down and worship Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Come and do what only you can. Sing mighty man of war. Yes, Lion of Judah. Yeah, we bow down and worship Yahweh.
You have a great foundation of a mix here. Great job with that. Love the energy of that lead vocalist, man. She's leading them well.
Leading them.
One thing that I would do is add some reverb to those vocals. It was just sounding dry. That's the main thing that I would critique here. And you probably need some reverb on your instruments as well. I have a video on YouTube about the 3 different reverbs that I use. There's one for vocals, and then there's another one that I use on instruments and vocals, and then one for drums. So if you go search the Collaborate Worship YouTube channel or go to collaborateworship.com, hit free content, use the search bar, and just type in reverb, you'll find that video where I explain those 3 different reverbs and how to use them. So I would implement that video and then resubmit it to us, and we'll take a listen to that. Other than that, I really don't have any feedback to offer. Just get that reverb dialed in, and it's going to take your mix to the next level. Dylan?
I don't have any visual comments. I think with what they're working with, it looks good. The white balance is good. Exposure, their skin tones look good with exposure, but I notice other things around them are overexposed, and I think that's a limitation of the camera. Like you can see right now that the white shirts are overexposed. You might just try to see if you can drop it a little bit. I think it's going to make the skin tones too dark, though, if you do. So I would always just prioritize your skin tones, and they look good. Unfortunately, I think that's just a limitation of the camera's dynamic range. But, I mean, it looks good, properly exposed in that. Interesting.
I want to talk windscreens for a minute. In general, you don't need windscreens inside. So the little actual mic head on these mics have a built-in windscreen in them to handle pops and your air and things like that moving through the mic. Windscreens are for whenever you're outside to keep the wind from making noise on the microphone. So unless you're using those for like some kind of visual thing or something like that, I would just take all the windscreens off just to make sure it's not causing any, because it is going to remove part of your signal, part of the clarity of your vocal, having that windscreen on there. And since you don't need it inside, I would just take it off so you don't have that barrier.
Sweet. Oh, I found the name of those cymbal shields that we use. They are Smokin' Ace. The website is smokingacecompany.com. So check those out. They're pretty affordable. It ranges from $40 to $50 for the biggest one, so not too bad.
Nice. All right. Well, I didn't see that other one come through, so we're just going to have to wait and do that next week or next month.
Yeah, we'll get you next time.
Yeah, we'll get you next time. Be sure to submit it. If you would like us to review your live stream, become an Inner Circle subscriber. You do that at collaborateworship.com, or you can use the link in the description. Also, jump into that free live stream course, link in the description. We have a free mixing cheat sheet for you. If you want something to set beside your mixer, so everybody knows who the lead vocal is, who the lead instrument is, just to make the whole thing a lot smoother, you can download that. There's a link in the description for that as well. And I think that wraps it up for this time. Really thankful that you guys joined us. It's always great to hear what's going on out there in the world amongst all the different churches. It's just really cool. I love it.
I think that if someone reviewed this stream, that we wouldn't get a very good rating with all the problems we've been having.
Once we got going, we didn't have any problems today.
Hey, there's that.
Yeah, Dylan's going to have to work out some issues here.
I think we need to hire an extra hand. This is
Yeah.
a lot for both of us to handle here.
Did you just forget to hit go live today? Was that the problem?
I might have. Can't remember. How does Rylan do this by himself is what I'm
I
wondering.
don't know. Pro status, man. That's why we were 8 minutes late. I actually got an 8-minute warm up because Dylan forgot to hit go live, and then we redid the whole first song.
Yeah, I got discombobulated. I have auto stop turned on, but not auto start, and I got it backwards. So my bad.
Sweet.
Hey, we're here though.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Y'all have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.
Deuces.